Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I am here for another action figure unboxing and review. Today from Hasbro, in their Marvel Legends series, we are featuring this amazing 2-pack featuring the Punisher and Bushwacker from the old 1980s comic, The Punisher War Journal. So a lifetime ago, back in the 1980s, especially in the mid to late 80s, there was kind of this anti-hero movement in the comic book industry. No longer were the clean-cut superheroes taking the center stage. Fans were really engaged with the grittier, gnarlier, much more vicious heroes. And at the forefront of that anti-hero movement was the Punisher. The character was so popular that, in addition to his standard Punisher solo comic book title, Marvel created a second book called The Punisher War Journal. Some of the most notable things to come out of The Punisher War Journal was artist Jim Lee, most known for his run on the Uncanny X-Men, the X-Men, and later on to produce Wildcats for Image and Wildstorm books. Oh man, I have so many fond memories of The Punisher War Journal, so this 2-pack really takes me back. It's insane that in the year 2024 that I'm getting action figures specifically made for a comic book that came out in the late 80s. Especially being such a huge fan of Jim Lee, it's really awesome to get a nice rendition of Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, done in a Jim Lee art style. Amazing looking 2-pack. In addition to the Punisher, you're getting Bushwacker. Lots of multiple accessories here. Punisher, he's coming with a full loadout of firearms, which we see right here. He has multiple hand options. He has the alternate portrait. And Bushwacker, he comes with an extra, the grotesque-looking pistol hand. On the back of the box, some wonderful artwork. We have some new artwork here, which is inspired from the original comics, which we see right there. This comic right here, the one on top, Punisher War Journal number 13, this is a really iconic Jim Lee image from during his run on The Punisher. You have the Punisher on the ground with Bushwacker just standing right over him. It's a familiar pose that we've seen Jim Lee use time and time again in the comic books. But this one here, this one's awesome. Alright, so a rogue assassin known as Bushwacker is on a mission to eliminate all mutants when he clashes with the crime-fighting vigilante Punisher. So yeah, this is awesome. I got this on Amazon for retail, but I know that it's a harder set to come by nowadays, and it's commanding higher prices on the secondary market just due to the fact that, it's the Punisher, and also because it's, what this thing represents. There's a lot of fans, much like me, who grew up during the 80s, and it's so cool too because the card insert on the inside, let's take this out. This is actually artwork from the books, so it's really cool. If you're a big fan of artist Jim Lee, it's kind of a nice callback to see his old Punisher comic back in the day. That's really special. Alright, so for the 2-pack itself, it looks incredible. Alright, so for the sake of this review, there's a lot going on here. I'm probably going to just review the figures. I'll leave the accessories in the tray because I don't want to lose anything on my table. But we can at least look at them up close. So here are all of the Punisher's weapons. You have a nice assortment of firearms. Everything from assault rifles to Uzis to pistols. Alternate head portrait. Oh man, I was just thinking, it'd be amazing if Hasbro gave us another Jim Lee inspired Punisher 2-pack. But instead of giving us Bushwacker, if they gave us Wolverine in his stealth outfit where he kind of has like the cheetah skin on his back, that would make for a great 2-pack. So hopefully, Hasbro thinks ahead and they do that, because I think what they're doing here is awesome. Like, especially from the 80s and 90s, there's so many cool team-ups and verse 2-pack sets they could make. And most of them involving the Punisher. You can easily do Punisher and Punisher War Journal Wolverine. You can easily do Punisher, Ghost Rider. because back in the early 90s and late 80s, Punisher was one of those characters that he was either fighting everybody or he was teaming up with everybody. So there's like a limitless amount of Punisher figures they can make. Bushwacker looks amazing. There's even a cool explosion accessory. I think we've seen this before with some other action figures. Like there was that deluxe white costume, the Black Widow, from some years ago, and I think she came with similar explosion special effects. But for now, we're just going to take a look at the figures. Alright, let's do Bushwacker first. Let's save the Punisher for last. So Bushwacker, I always get this character confused with Random. Random is an X-Factor X-Men villain, or villain slash I think teammate. And he kind of has a similar look, but his skin's all white. And he also kind of has a mutated arm that's essentially a giant like shotgun. Bushwacker, the figure looks amazing. He has that crazy like 90s flat top with the like braided rat tail. He has the really extreme scarred up face, which you can see right there. This thing is disgusting to look at. I can't it looks so grotesque. This is kind of like mutated arm that's essentially like a firing weapon. It's the texture on it, it's really disgusting. I can't even describe what this looks like. Yeah, it's gross. It's veiny, it's wrinkly, you know, use your imagination. But yeah, it's a fantastic figure. Just look at that. Really well done. The execution's great. I love his shirt. This might be an all-new piece with a really tall popped-up collar. The folds and wrinkles are very subtle. Nice denim texture on his pants. Can really appreciate the folds here also. He has the fingerless gloves. Yeah, a really standout looking action figure. It's kind of interesting that they released this with a 2-pack. It makes sense, but I also kind of wonder if this figure would have sold just as well as a solo figure, because this is a kind of a deep cut for Hasbro. You know, Bushwacker isn't necessarily a mainstream villain in the Marvel Universe. In terms of his articulation, his head rotates. He does look down, does look up, but his movement is restricted by his collar. Thankfully for me, there are no butterfly joints. I hate the Hasbro Marvel Legends butterfly joints. They never work on me, or they're stuck, or they break, but this is nice. Articulation is pretty solid. I think just about the full range of motion for going outward, because I don't know, the cut's not deep enough toward the top, but it's reasonable. Bicep swivel, clean design for the double pinned elbows. You have the grotesque firing arm here, which does pull off. And if you want, you can swap on that other hand, or if you have any normal looking hands. But yeah, this thing's disgusting. Let's just look at this. It's all veiny, it's all wrinkly. Yeah. He does have an ab crunch, which we see. Nice range of motion. Waist swivel. What's interesting here with the waist swivel is that the swivel is below the belt, not above the belt, like we see time and time again with other figures. I'm kind of curious about that design choice, but it doesn't break the figure. You know, I think it works. Legs kick up, they kick outward, right about there. Thigh cut for swivel motion at the top. Double jointed knees and articulated ankles. You're looking at a figure, if I had to guess, is probably at least 6 3/4 tall, I'm guessing. And it's a little, yeah, about there, so I'm about right on that. For a size comparison, here he is next to the smaller Wolverine from Marvel Legends. This seems accurate height-wise. Here he is next to the X-Men Marvel Legends Vulcan figure. A very generic standard buck that we see time and time again. Much taller figure. In terms of a larger figure, here he is next to the Rhino from the retro carded Spider-Man line. And then here he is next to the Superior Spider-Man. This is one of my favorite figures from this past year. This thing is awesome. If you don't have this, you need this in your collection. This seems about right height in terms of the height. Here he is next to a female figure build. We have the Black Cat, Felicia Hardy, also from the retro carded Spider-Man line. So you can see it's a very tall figure, Bushwacker. Okay, let's move to the main event, the one people probably really want to see, the Jim Lee War Journal inspired Punisher. Right, so we have Frank Castle here. The head looks really, really nice. A very grizzled, worn look for Frank. Yes, it's kind of hard to see. The lighting is a little bit overexposed on my setup. But he has some nice he has some nice stubble on his chin and cheeks. The wrinkles really give him an aged appearance. He has his 80s headband. I see so many different variations of this figure in my head. Like in War Journal, he predominantly had the black gloves. I think that's what kind of separated his look from the standard Punisher book. But I would love to see this exact same figure with maybe white gloves and black boots, or maybe even leather-colored straps. This is a cool feature too, how he has the shotgun shells across his chest. He kind of has that armor plating for the teeth above his abdomen. The pouches are nice. They're kind of low profile, so they don't stick out too much from his body. I can really appreciate that. He has a nice holster on his left hip. Clean design for the pinless knees and elbows. So yeah, I can really see this being a lot of people's end-all be-all of Punisher figures. You know, this one's pretty near perfect. Like I said, I think the only thing that'd be cool is if they gave us the different color options for his costume. Like, I'm a little bit more partial towards the white gloves and the white boots. It's a little bit more comic book looking, but I don't mind. There's a part of me that kind of feels like there should be more contrast between the gloves and the boots to separate them from the costume. So there's a part of me thinking that it would have been nice if maybe the gloves and the boots had a glossy finish against the matte finish of the costume. But yeah, a very standout looking piece. Excellent, excellent figure. Yeah, so if you need a Punisher figure, this one really takes the cake. I think this is a much more superior Punisher than the ones we've gotten in the past. And it's such a great figure that you know that Hasbro will double dip and give us this figure in a different color scheme. In terms of his articulation, his head looks down. He looks up, which is great, because if you want to create those poses where maybe he's laying on his belly with like a sniper rifle, you at least get kick his head back, which is awesome. He does have butterfly joints, and these, thankfully, are not stuck. These actually move on my figure. His arms rotate. There's a bicep cut. Pinless elbows, which are very clean. Articulated wrists. He does not have an ab crunch, but he does have a diaphragm cut, which allows him to crunch forward still. You're met with some resistance because the plating on the front here kind of gets in the way. He does arch back. Does not have a waist swivel. Oh wait, I take it back. He does have an ab crunch. It's actually hidden under the belt. But because of the design, the armor plating here, excuse me, he does not want to crunch forward, and I would suggest don't crunch it fully forward because you might crease the plastic plating here, and then might create for an unsightly look if you accidentally wreck this. His legs kick up. Again, thigh cut, pinless knees, articulated boots and ankles, and they also have a tilt so you can level them out for wider stances. So yeah, fantastic figure set. I can't recommend this one enough. So if you happen to come across this for standard retail, definitely pull the trigger. I've seen this thing go for a lot of money on the secondary market, and rightfully so. It's awesome, very high in demand figure set. Alright, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.